DxO has just released the latest version of its photo management and editing software. In this video, I'll review what's new in Photolab 7 and explain how these features work. DxO has also released FilmPack 7 on the same day, which I'll be covering in a later video. Let's start by opening an image for editing in the Customize module. The first change is to the Color Rendering section, which we find in the Color tab. We now see a new black and white renderings option. When we select this, we can choose the rendering with 3 choices. There are generic renderings as well as black and white film and digital, which I'll talk about shortly. For the moment, I'll choose the generic rendering. I then have 4 choices, which I can select in the renderings drop-down. The default is a neutral black and white, which produces a good result with most of the images I've tried. In addition, we have 3 DxO renderings, which are faded, balanced and strong. These apply an additional rendering on top of the default black and white conversion. To show you what I mean, I'll pick the strong rendering, which works great for this image. I can then use the intensity slider to reduce its effect. Pulling the intensity slider back to 0 produces the same result as the neutral black and white rendering. You can see this when I return to that rendering and move the intensity slider to 100. The intensity slider doesn't have any effect on the neutral rendering. In addition to using the intensity slider to control the effect, I can combine it with the channel mixer. When I turn on the channel mixer, I can control the black and white conversion using the color response sliders. For example, I can lighten the sky by increasing the blue slider, and I can reduce the yellow slider to darken the area behind the viaduct. DxO has also added several new film and digital renderings to Photolab 7 in both color and black and white. If you have FilmPack 7 installed as I do, there are additional renderings and it integrates seamlessly into Photolab. Let's turn off the channel mixer and return to the color rendering because I want to tell you about local adjustments. DxO has completely redesigned the local adjustments in Photolab 7. Their old system of applying local adjustments was a bit like Marmite. You either loved it or you hated it. To open the local adjustments, click the paintbrush icon. Now I can select the tool that I want to use in a row of icons. There's also a new luminosity mask feature, but it's only available if the FilmPack 7 software is installed. I'll be looking at that in a later video. Let's say that I want to select the blue at the top of the sky. I'll do this by selecting the control line tool and then drawing the control line onto the image. Then I'll position the sample point to select the blue area of the sky. Notice how much cleaner this design is as I no longer have all the sliders on the control arms. Instead, all the adjustments are on the right of the interface and arranged into panels. This makes them much easier to access. For example, if I want to add a clear view adjustment to the selection, I use the slider on the right side of the interface. This makes for a much better experience when editing your images as well as being faster. Then if I want to select a new area using the same tool, I click the New Mask button at the bottom or the plus icon. I can then click and draw my new selection. To prevent confusion, I can rename the selections in the local adjustments list. I'll call this one Viaduct, and I'll call the other adjustment Sky. Then when I select either adjustment, I can see the controls change. I also like the fact that I can combine different tools onto the same mask, just like you can in Lightroom. For example, I can select the control point tool and add it to the viaduct mask that I created with the control line. I'll undo that now because I want to show you another new feature. This is something that I've been wanting for a long time. We now have an HSL tool added to the local adjustments. This uses the same excellent design as the global HSL tool in Photolab. DxO has created a completely flexible colour management system by adding it to the local adjustments. I've lost count of the times that I've wanted to control the colours in a specific area of an image, and that's exactly what the new HSL tool delivers. I hope others like Adobe pay attention and add a similar feature to their software. Let's say that we now want to choose the sky adjustment and alter just the blue. Although the control line selected the blue area of the sky, it does spill over into surrounding clouds. I can refine it to a degree using the chroma and luma sliders, but combining these with the HSL tool gives much greater control. First, I pick the colour range I want to affect, which is blue. You can then see the colours appear on the colour wheel to indicate the selection. I could change these by clicking and dragging, but I won't. Now using little lollipop control, I can alter the hue element of the colour. If I want to reset the adjustment, I just double click the control. I can now increase the saturation and reduce the luminance. I'll also increase the uniformity to smooth the effects transition. If I go to the split screen view, you can see the difference these simple changes can make. Let's switch to a different image because I want to explain another new feature. Here you can see a photo of a colour checker chart. There are different ways to use these, but I use this one for generating new camera profiles. To do that, I first need to convert my RAW files into DNG files and then import them into the software the colour checker manufacturer provided. That's a rather laborious process that puts me off using it. Now we have an alternative, as DxO has introduced a colour calibration feature into Photolab 7. It's grouped with the other colour controls in the Customize module. To create a profile, we need to select the Create Profile icon. We can then click and drag on our image of the calibration card. I can then click the overlays corners to move them into position on the chart. Once in position, I can choose the type of calibration target that I'm using. In this case, it's a Passport Colour Checker. Mine's an older one produced by X-Rite, but it still works with this software. Now I can click the Save and Apply option to generate a colour profile for this camera. This opens the Save As dialog, where I can name the new profile and choose where to save it. After clicking Save, the new profile is generated as a DCP file and it's applied to the image. I'll close the overlay now. If we look at the rendering panel, you can see the new profile already applied to the image. When I turn off the panel, you can see the changes that it's making to the accuracy of the colours in this image. It's probably most noticeable in the blues and the reds of the calibration target. Everything is now much more vibrant and reproduces the colours accurately. I've found this much easier for generating profiles than the chart manufacturer's software. It's so easy that I've begun carrying and using the colour checker card again. Now I can apply the profile to other images shot with this camera. If we go back to the Viaduct image, which was also shot with the Panasonic GX1, look at the difference it makes to the colours. Another new feature added to Photolab 7 is LUT colour grading. You'll find this in the colour section of the Customize module. Here we can choose from one of 17 LUT files included with Photolab 7. For this image, let's choose the O2 Bleach Bypass LUT. I can then change the strength of the effect using the intensity slider. I can also import third-party LUTs in the cube file format using the drop-down. Whilst it's nice to see the new LUT colour grading, I would have liked the option to add multiple LUTs to the same image. Hopefully this will be added in a future release. Overall, there are some nice new features in Photolab 7 and the redesign of the local adjustment interface is superb. In terms of cost, the new full version is priced at £209 or $229 and the same in euros. If you're an existing user and qualify for an upgrade, it will cost you £99 or $109 and the same in euros. You can also download a free 30-day evaluation version of the software from the DxO website. I'll include a link to that in the YouTube video information below. Earlier I talked about the colour renderings. In this video I explain more about Photolab renderings and the colour space, as well as how to achieve the best results with them. It's a good one to watch next. I hope you enjoyed today's review. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and please share this. I'll see you soon for another video.